Excuse me just a second. We are back with another one. All right. So usually in video form, you know what you usually do is you go straight away, right? Go straight away with the topic that you have at hand, what you're going to talk about, and your intentions for the video. That's a little tutorial for all of you that are looking to get into YouTube. Now, obviously, I'm only learning myself as well as I go along, but I sort of understand a few tricks of the trade to this YouTube thing. And you know what? I'm not stingy in sharing the information because I tell you what, I would love to have any information shared to me that would be beneficial in growing your channel or doing whatever it is that it takes to succeed in anything. Which brings me to Corey Sandhagen. You see, what's really interesting about this guy is that he is the type to, how do I say this? Come at you in a very humble way if he wants to learn something. Donald says, yo, shout outs to my man Donald, who is the first in the chat, and many more to come, inshallah, as we talk about Davison Figueiredo taking on Corey Sandhagen. And by the way, here's another breaking news that we're going to talk about. Cedric Dumas, UFC's 185 rookie. I believe he's a rookie. He's probably had only a few UFC fights. Obviously, coming off of a loss against Michel Olajaychuk. But he is in trouble for what I believe is assault and battery, and also, I believe, domestic situation. So we're going to talk about that. Donald says, I am rich. Well, Donald, I tell you what, with a name like yours, you probably are, right? What guy whose name is Donald is not wealthy that I've ever met, right? Obviously, one of the wealthiest men in the world, Donald Trump, became president, and yeah, he's a pretty wealthy guy, so I wouldn't doubt it. Chris Goes says, nice hair. Ain't nothing to it. Just woke up like this and decided I was going to go like that. Boy VZ says, hi. He says, hi, how are you? Oog. Ford Jog says, I'm from the UK. Shout outs to the UK, Chris Goss. What about Donald Duck? Irish boy. Shout outs to the Irish. I just escaped the Matrix today. Oh, well, explain to us how you were able to do that, Irish boy. Shout outs to Irish boy. Penguins. Would you rather sea with no water or a desert with no sand? I think I could go with a desert with no sand. That's a pretty interesting question. What is this accent? Well, I am from the United States. I live in California. I grew up in New Jersey. So I have various accents from around the world, and I was born in Libya. Public Enemy says, who you kill? Bro, what are you talking about? That's a crazy thing to say, Public Enemies. Seasman says, oil up. What did my man here say? Nathan Posse says, Donald could just be a quack. Oh, Public Enemy says that you driving away. Okay. Chicken Jockey says, Ember. Subdur Kubiov says, who are you? Well, I am an MMA streamer, and I am here to talk about MMA, and I would need you guys to like and subscribe up top so that we can talk about this weekend's fights with Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo, both coming off losses, by the way. Davison coming off of a loss against Peter Yan, and Sandhagen coming off of a loss against Umar Nurmagomedov. By the way, no shame in the game of any of these two losing to those. That is what high-level fighting is all about. Public Enemies says, no, you not. Penguin says, are you artistic? Am I artistic? No. I wonder if the hair had something to do with it. Red Con says, a sea with no water is a desert, and a desert with no sand is a tundra. LOL. Okay. Shout outs to Jay Redcorn for that. That's a very good comeback right there on that one. Mughal says, Sai, can't you just drive for now? YouTube's not going anywhere. Stop looking at your phone. Jesse says, hi. Well, I got to read everyone's comments, my man. Von Cheaper says, what's up? What's up to my man, Von Cheaper? Stain here says, is it true that you have... Okay, no, I do not. Kane says, are you special? Well, I don't think I'm anyone special, but I don't think anybody should think they're special. I think other people should let other people say that they're special. Unless you're not really getting any recognition and you know that you're special, then maybe you should outright say it. Irish Boy says, I just stopped worrying about things I cannot control and stopped being scared. Only time I should be scared is if I'm in a war zone with bullets flying. Man, Irish Boy, man, that's deep, bro. That's true. That is very true, but that is deep. Irish Boy says, escape the matrix, just change your way of thinking. Very good. Kyle says, no, that's not going to happen, Kyle. Muggy says, you have less than 20 views. Doubt it's worth putting others yeah, I don't know about that, man. I mean, you say that it's only 20 that's in here, but you know, they accumulate. By the end of this, it's like 500 up to 1,000. There's people that come in and out all the time, right? But that's why I try to be as engaging as possible so that I could continue to garner your attention. Hot Chicken Feet says, drink and drive. No, I do not drink. I am a Muslim. Yes, Irish Boy. I am a Muslim, which kind of answers Hot Chicken Feet's question. Yeah, I don't drink, so if I'm going to drive, the last thing I'm going to do is drink. So, yeah, there's that. But there is this that I will say, okay? This is way less dangerous than drinking and driving. Can you drift? Ben says, absolutely. I want to see you drifting. I cannot do that because it is illegal to do so on camera. Warden says, hi. How you doing, Warden? Sahil Smoke says, how are you, bro? Man, how's it going? Ben says, hi. Bonkowski says, hi. Count me in as a new subscriber watching from South Africa. Boom. There it is, my man. Shout out to South Africa. Man, I got different people now from around the world tapping in. Very thankful for that. Thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for tapping in. We're going to get this thing cracking right here. Bo Nickel hype ends this weekend. We shall see. We shall see if Bo Nickel's hype ends this weekend because he is fighting Renier, and Renier is a premier grappler, but also a very good striker because he is Dutch. Let's not forget that. He is a consummate grappler, but never forget he is Dutch by the end of the day, and those guys can kickbox. Daniel 218, Bo Nickel hype. Yeah, so shout out to Bo Nickel. Stop trolling him. Y'all trolls haven't escaped the matrix. If yous did, yous wouldn't have the time or feel the need to troll. Very true. Irish Boy says, all you trolls are just sad in your own life. Man, I like Irish Boy, man. Irish Boy is the man, bro. Muggy, it's the law for a reason. Any number wouldn't make a difference. You won't learn till you hurt someone. I don't hate much, but I hate people like you. Woo! Okay, that's very deep for you, Muggy, but that's cool. Pray for the trolls. Vitka says, hi, man, how are you? Do you like The Lion King? I'm not really into Disney, but I don't mind going to Disneyland, Disney World, and all of that. Irish Boy with the prayer sign. I subscribe from Dublin. Nice, man. Nice to meet you, bro. Man, we got some people from Dublin out here, man. So hopefully the next time I do a Conor McGregor piece, you will be in here and talk about maybe some experiences you've had running across Conor, or maybe you've heard some stories. I would love to hear that. Ajua Range says, Natalia Silva is going to dethrone Amanda Nunes. Daniel says, Dutch sloppy, tough fighters like DDP and RDR are the new trend. Andrew Tate says, who is this guy? This is probably not the real Andrew Tate, but all right. Spitting some truth. I'll pray for the other drivers on the road. Yeah, all right, whatever, bro. Bro, drive. Thanks for answering. Good luck. Daddy and Daughter Life says, hi from London. Shout outs to Daddy and Daughter Life from London. That's what's up, man. Shout out to all the English fans, all the Irish fans, all the South African fans, and also all the fans that are in uh, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and all of that. I never seen Connor in real life. Irish boy says, okay. Are you Lucio? Andrew Tate says, are you Korean? No, I'm half Arabic and half Pacific Islander. Shout out to Andrew Tate in the chat. I don't know if that's the real Andrew Tate. Irish boy says, you seem like a good guy. I like how you read all the comments. Well, I tell you what, I'm a new upcoming channel. Obviously, I'm not going to have all the biggest interactions or all the comments that are going to pop up, but that's why I'm going to read all of them. So hopefully when I get bigger, it'll probably be a little bit harder to read all the comments, and I'm probably going to have to be very selective with them. Although this is a very high engagement rate, more than what I'm usually used to, but let's see if I can keep up with it. Okay, let's see here. What else? What else we got here? Don't know ish. Textbook says I am Irish too. All right, shout outs to the Irish. What else here? Stack says hello. Zoblong, I am from the south side of Gorlub, so please shout out all the okay. Yeah, shout outs to that guy. Imagine this guy on coke, not into drugs or hardcore stuff or anything like that. It's not trolling when what you're doing is illegal. When you crack, yeah, I don't know about all that, man. So, Maggie, I'm just gonna put you on timeout for all your negativity. Sorry, but Andrew Tate says, "Are you alive?" Obviously, I'm alive. Irish boy says, "What state are you from?" I am from California, Sacramento, California. Represent. You know who's out here in Sacramento? I've trained with Uriah Faber as well. I'll probably put up that picture on the community section. If you guys subscribe, stay tuned. I'm going to put that up on the community section and see what kind of haters we garner out of that. Let's see. Irish boy says, I want to go to America someday. Inshallah, you will visit America one day. It's very nice, and a lot of the Irish love it out here, as you would imagine. Daughter, what do you think of Tom Aspinall? I think he is the uncrowned heavyweight champion of the world right now until John Jones proclaims otherwise. See, it is John Jones's responsibility right now to claim otherwise, because if he doesn't, well, then it's Tom Aspinall's narrative to sort of spew. Have you ever crashed your car before? No, I haven't. Stop doing fentanyl. I'm not into fentanyl, but yeah, thanks for the advice. Nice. Kaza. Swab says, who is your favorite artist? My Style and Stupid Young, right? Both Southern California rappers. So I urge you guys to check them out. Doggy Style and Stupid Young. Those are my two favorite artists right now. Were you born in America? I heard you mention Libya. Yes, I was born in Libya, but I am raised in America in both sides of the coast. Andrew Tate says, are you black? I'm half Arabic and half Pacific Islander, so I'm damn near that. My friend left for boot camp 2 days ago. Shout outs to Karam for YTV, okay? With your friend who left for boot camp. What branch? Let me know, brother. Stop doing Campbell. Are you asking a very personal question? Okay. But yes, to answer your question, all Muslims have to be. What else here? I was an alcoholic, but in 10 days I'm clean now. I stopped. Okay, well, shout outs to Irish Boy for saying that he used to be an alcoholic and now he kicked that in the butt. Because I tell you what, my man, that's a very hard thing to fight. Not that I would know anything about it. Obviously, I'm not a consummate drinker to any degree, so it's not something that I would know about, but I do understand struggle, but not that kind of struggle. But obviously, we all understand struggle in our own way, and I pray for your struggles and everything that you go through, and I hope that you come out of that on the best. Hypnotic says those to deny Jesus before man will be denied before our Father. Don't be afraid or ashamed to speak about him. Solab asks, am I real? I don't know. You tell me. Love that. So Pacific is a Pacific Islander. Samoa, if I wasn't able to do that, right? And how do you know that I'm not in a green screen? You ever thought about that? Ah, I got you there, huh? Says, I subscribe. Peace. Daddy, daughter, shout out to you. Thank you for subscribing, my man. Hope you come back and check out all of this content. And by the way, guys, check out my video that I did on Ian Gary as well. Right? Ian Gary, Cock versus Buck. Stay tuned. You're going to love that one. Lagging out, Slob says, shout out to you, man. You shouldn't be on your phone in a car, mate. Trick or family fun. Well, mate, we got different laws in America, so you don't even know if I'm in a car or not. I'm in a green screen. Did you not know? I'm in a green screen, my man. You see? All of a sudden, I got a background of the fight poster this weekend, and all of a sudden, I'm in some imaginary car. How about that? How about that, you snitch? Trigger family fun, you snitch. All right, shout out to you, though. I'm a Sofa King says hi. Ruben Romero says hi. Shout out to you, Ruben Romero. So, okay, you don't want me to be in the car. You want me to talk my stuff or this and that. All right, let's do it right now. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, so hold on just a second. Ruben says hi. Okay, that's a little inappropriate, Ruben. Stay tuned real quick. Hold on just a second. Handle something real quick. So, okay, so here, right? Davison Figueroa taking on Corey Sandhagen. Obviously, a redemption matchup going on, right? Why? Because these two guys are coming off of losses, and as a result of coming off of those losses, they're trying to redeem themselves at the top level. The two names that they lost to, there's no shame in that. No shame in losing to Peter Yan in the likes of Davison Figueroa, especially being a former 125 champion. By the way, one of the fastest turnarounds that anyone has ever had on the championship level. Wu-Tang Clan says hi. Shout outs to Wu-Tang Clan. Irish Boy says, everyone likes Irish Boy. Of course, man, you're the life of the party in here, my man. So, there's no shame in losing to Peter Yan for Davison Figueroa. There's no shame for Corey Sandhagen to lose to Umar, because look at Umar. Even though he lost decisively against Merab, he still took Merab to a decision, and it shows you that he's right up there. So what does that mean? By MMA math, because we all know MMA math always makes sense, is that Corey Sandhagen is right up there. He also went to a split decision with TJ Dillashaw. Can you imagine that? And this was TJ Dillashaw when he was at his prime. Now, obviously, I live in Sacramento. I've trained with Uriah out here in Team Alpha Male. I've been around TJ Dillashaw before. And what I will say is that TJ Dillashaw is the greatest 135 fighter of all time. And that's probably a biased take on my part. But Corey Sandhagen to do that, that shows the kind of high level that he's at. Split decision. That fight could have gone either way. What kind of yap is this? Super Senior Gojo says, we're talking about MMA, my man. Hunt says, no, you haven't. Yes, I have. I'm going to show you a community picture of that right after this stream, and then you're going to eat your words. Beats by G. Topuria versus Prime Volk. Who you got? Topuria versus Prime Volk. I would still go with Topuria. You want to know why? You see, Topuria is one of those guys that will always beat Alexander. It's just a stylistic issue that's going on here, right? He's never going to beat Volkanovski. His punches are too hard. His grappling is too good. And I think that he is equal in terms of athleticism, if not even more. And then on top of that, he could go stamina for stamina with Volkanovski. So this is a very deadly combination. And this is why Ilia Topuria is such a perfect matchup for Alexander Volkanovski, irregardless of Volkanovski being smashed up into pieces by Islam Makhachev before going into the Ilia Topuria fight. Lofty says, hello, can you say... No, I'm not going to say anyone is whatever. Beats by G says, Savage Style. Shout out to you, Savage Style, and shout out to everyone that has tapped in. So who has a Savage Style, my man? Are you talking about one of the fighters that I had mentioned? Are you talking about Corey Sandhagen, TJ Dillashaw, or are you talking about Davison Figueiredo? But let me know regardless. So you stop lagging. Where is the Pacific Islander? Where is that? Okay. Oh, so he was at... Okay, I already answered that one. Okay, sorry about that. I was just scrolling up looking at the latest comments. But on any regard, so who's going to win between Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo? I'm going to make an official prediction right now since the weekend is coming up, right? My official prediction for that fight, it's going to go to a decision. Now, who will the decision go to? I'm not going to give you a definitive answer right now. Maybe I should. Because it is closing in right now, so I should just give you an official prediction right now for Davison Figueiredo and Corey Sandhagen. If you want me to pick or give you a prediction between Corey Sandhagen and I'm sorry, I was going to say Ilia Topuria, Davison Figueiredo, their names almost sound the same in a rhyme in a way, right? You can almost kind of rhyme their names together. Ilia Topuria, Davison Figueiredo, right? Almost as like a rhyme. But on any regard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right now, and I'm going to give you my official prediction for Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo, because it's very important that I get this out by the end of the week so that, I mean, look, I'm not big on MMA predictions. I do a lot of prediction shows. I don't do them every week, but if it's a fight that is compelling that I want to talk about and make off a 14 Kodak Black, Baby Yaga says, Corey gone with the other dude is too small. Win. Bro, getting, Frank Bean says, getting, yeah, whatever. This, whoever this guy is, man. This dude. There we go. All right. So, Corey gone with the other small dude. Yeah. I'm going to go with a split decision on this one. That is my official prediction for Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo. Look, these two guys are going to match each other on the feet. There's probably not going to be a lot of wrestling exchanges. There's probably going to be a lot more kickboxing exchanges, because think about this. Who out of the two is willing to shoot in on a takedown? Maybe Corey Sandhagen at some point. Who's going to have more of the ground control time? Maybe Corey Sandhagen, even though I am predicting that it's going to be mostly a stand-up matchup, because Davison's not going to initiate the takedowns, at least I don't think initially. But I also think that if anybody is going to shoot in on a takedown, it's going to be Corey Sandhagen out of desperation. You understand? So maybe out of desperation, Maybe out of desperation, he is going to shoot in. And as a result of shooting in, I think that's where a lot of the ground control time is going to be. And Davison Figueiredo is going to do nothing but fight off of his back. So I think this fight is going to go to a split decision. But for who? It's going to go for Corey Sandhagen by split decision. The control time, the takedowns is going to be on his side, and not only that, the size as well. Corey gone with the other dude right now. So yeah, letters says are able to write that kind of sentence. But yeah, anyways, on any regard, so that's who I'm going for. I'm going for Corey Sandhagen in that fight. And if you guys have any contrasting ideas on that particular matter, let me know in the comment section below. But so far, I got Corey Sandhagen beating Davison Figueiredo by split decision. Okay? So it's going to be a split decision. So the next topic at hand that we're going to talk about is Cedric Dumas. Please excuse me real quick. And then as I come back in probably 30 seconds, we're going to talk about Cedric Dumas and him getting arrested. And then we're going to move on to the topic of this weekend's fights with NYC, Riyadh Season Boxing, and then Canelo versus Skull in May the 3rd, which is, by the way, is a Cinco de Mayo weekend. Stay tuned in 30 seconds. We're going to talk about it. All right. So, as I was saying earlier, guys, there's a video that I have out right now with Ian Gary, Cuck versus Buck. Check it out. It is the latest video that I have out right now. I urge you guys to check it out. There's some good visuals in it. Eddie Hearn, George St. Pierre, sort of giving a bit of their life analysis in terms of how they would conduct themselves in social media. What type of things are they willing to expose to the world, and what type of things are not willing to expose to the world. But on any regard, yeah, stay tuned because we're going to talk about that in the video. But right now, you guys know Cedric Dumas recently been arrested for, I believe, is a domestic battery case. And then I believe there was a robbery charge that was involved in it as well. I don't know, man, but I'm not going to say that I saw this coming, but at the same time, I saw this coming. You guys know WAC 100? He mentioned Cedric Dumas before. He talked to him on the phone because he was trying to set up a fight, a celebrity boxing match between him and Cedric Dumas versus 4 Extra, the Roland 40s Crip social media influencer, right? They were going to set up a fight together, a boxing fight. WAC 100 said to 4 Extra, look, don't fight this guy in MMA. He's a legit MMA fighter. 4 Extra said, no, I want MMA. You guys can check that out. I have that video as well. The 4 Extra making his MMA debut with Adam 22 and WAC 100 as his as his manager. Benjamin Youngman says, what's up, bro? What's up, Benjamin? Shout outs to you, my man. So yeah, Cedric Dumas, right? WAC 100 said on the phone when he was talking to him, the guy seems a bit of a J-Cat. Now, for those of you that don't understand what a J-Cat is, that is a person that is not really all up there mentally, but people in the hood use these types of people to go and crash out on other people, sometimes even use them to pull hits, right? He's saying that this is exactly who Cedric Dumas was by his own experience. Benjamin Youngman says, where are you from? I am from Sacramento, California. Represent. Where are you from, brother? Let me know what part of the world you are from. So this is WAC 100's assessment on Cedric Dumas. Cedric Dumas has a high proclivity for crashing out. And that is why he is where he's at right now. Now, is he going to get kicked out of the UFC? I don't know. He is coming off of that loss. It's not a good look. And you're not Conor McGregor. because Conor McGregor can literally get away with anything. Okay, and the fact that he gets away with anything is the reason why you don't hear half of the news that you hear about him, just like Francis Ngannou. But Francis Ngannou is obviously a higher profile case than that of Cedric Dumas. But on another hand, I do have that in my video section as well. Or I'm sorry, my live stream section. I did 2 live streams regarding Francis Ngannou and the situation going on in Cameroon. Go check it out. It's probably one of my 2 best live streams that I've ever done. Flacco says he is from Holland. Shout outs to Holland. Your guy, Renier, is going to be fighting this weekend against our very own American wrestling champion, Bo Nickel. That's going to be a good fight. Benjamin Youngman says he's from Essex in England. Shout out to Essex in England. I know a boxer in England named Tommy Jacobs. Let me know if you know who he is. He's from Essex. So Benjamin Youngman, let me know if you know who that guy is. He's big around them parts, bruv, if you know what I mean, bruv. He's big around them parts. This guy, yeah, bro. Okay, so you know who he is, huh? Okay. This guy with a Hindi name that I cannot read, he says, I got a couple of sons, a couple of guns, a couple of N-word that bust up the party. Look it up for fun. Okay, so my man busting out a little rap right there. Yeah, my man. Okay, so you know Tommy Jacobs. All right, that's awesome, man. Yeah, for those of you that don't know who Tommy Jacobs is, right? By the way, that's where Benjamin Youngman is from. He's basically from the same hood as Tommy Jacobs. Me and Tommy Jacobs talk all the time about The Sopranos, right? He's a big Sopranos fan, obviously. Well, let me give you guys a little background on Tommy Jacobs. He was the former captain of the GB boxing Olympic team, and when he was about to turn pro, he got into some little scuffles. He brought an axe and tried to grind somebody with it. That's how gangster that dude is. So, yeah, you know, shout out to Tommy Jacobs. You know, he's helped platform me a few times. You know, got nothing but good things to say about that man. But, yeah, shout out to him and Essex in England. So, yeah, my man Benjamin definitely knows who that is because he is big in them parts in England. So, yeah. All right. So, moving on to the next topic at hand, we got Canelo taking on Scholl. Now, look, I don't know too much about this guy. I really don't. But obviously, this is going to be an undisputed 168-pound championship match, and it's going to be held in Riyadh. This story is not so much about the fight. I think we know that Canelo is going to walk through this guy very easy. Okay? He's going to walk through him very easily. And then we're going to get Crawford and Canelo for the undisputed 168 championship in September. That is the plan. That is the Turkey El-Sheikh prerogative that we got going on, and that is what is going to happen. So, may the best man win, but we already know Canelo is the best man. And my goodness, if Canelo gets upsetted this weekend the way that Anthony Joshua got upsetted by Andy Ruiz, this is going to get clipped right here, and I'm going to look like the biggest dumbass ever. And I'm going to love it because I love being wrong in combat sports, because whenever you know so much about combat sports and you're wrong, that makes it an even bigger deal. So shout out to William Skull. Let's see how he gets there. Jason Brophy, shout out to you. I think DDP takes Khamzat. Okay, well that is that is your opinion. Jason Brophy says, can't bring myself to pay $120 for a boxing pay-per-view. Well, shout out to Turkey El-Sheikh. He's sort of changing the narrative in that game, right? Now it's $25 in the United States to buy boxing pay-per-views if it has anything to do with Turkey El-Sheikh, right? Whereas before it was like 90, 100, so on and so forth. They're trying to combat piracy of some sort, but let's see if they are able to do that. Benjamin Youngman says, I like the channel, the British channel. All right, the British Broadcasting Channel. Awesome. Good for you, Benjamin Youngman. All right. All right, so shout out to you, my man. Shout out to England, man. Shout out to everybody around the world, and shout out to Jason Brophy He is a regular here. So give him a shout out. And yeah, man, I respect your opinion on DDP and Khamzat. And I understand that maybe you would like DDP to win. But I think Khamzat winning is better for business. What do you think? Do you think that the South African market is bigger than the Russian market? Because here's the thing, right? When it comes to Khamzat, you know, it's not just the Russian confederation that he is encompassing. He's also encompassing the Muslim world. Okay, he's also encompassing everything else that deals with that. Hey, Caleb Perala says, who do you think will win between Raleigh and Ryan? I think that's going to be an easy win for Ryan. I think Raleigh is going to give him a good fight. We're going to be very surprised of how good this fight is. Because if there's one thing I can tell you about Turki El-Sheikh, he knows boxing. He obviously knows boxing better than he knows MMA, better than he knows soccer, better than he knows any other sport that he is involved in. He knows boxing way more than he knows about Formula One racing. Okay, so as a result of that, as a result of knowing about boxing more than anything, I think he put up this matchup together because he knows that Raleigh has something in him to give Ryan Garcia a very tough fight. Even though Devin Haney didn't give him a tough fight, Raleigh, for whatever reason, might be the perfect stylistic matchup to be able to do that. So I'm going to go with Ryan KO as well. Brian Murph, but I think it's not going to go without any. I mean, let me just say this, right? It's going to be hard. Raleigh is going to be in there. He's going to be in there every step of the way. Jason Brophy says Khamzat barely made it past Gilbert. Okay, so Jason Brovey, I want to make something very clear with you about the Gilbert Burns fight. Khamzat Chimaev was fasting for Ramadan during that fight. So you see how he fights Gilbert Burns, one of the best in the world, not a joke. But then you look at how he fights Kevin Holland, who's also one of the best in the world, maybe not at the level of Gilbert Burns, but he goes and burns right through him very easily without having to fast for Ramadan. So those are the two contrasting fights of Khamzat that I could make comparisons to, and especially bringing up the context of Ramadan as part of it, because he actually did Ramadan. It wasn't like Ankalaev, where he sort of used the traveler's dismissal to be exempt from fasting, right? He didn't do any of that, and I'm not faulting Ankalaev for doing that. It obviously worked some wonders for him going into that fight, because I think what it was, he needed to drink water in order to cut weight. Okay, and for those of you that have wrestled, that have boxed, that have fought in the cage, you guys know what I'm talking about when you're drinking water, trying to deplete it so that you can push the water weight out and cut weight in the sauna. So Brian Murph goes Ryan by KO. Jason Brophy says it all goes 5 rounds for sure. Decision for DDP. Holland is a gatekeeper. Very true. Very true. And Khamzat ran right through that gate. Caleb, Khamzat will ragdoll Rob, who out-wrestled DDP. Very true. He did get out-wrestled by DDP. So, you know, MMA math is not always algebra. But let me tell you something. Sometimes when it comes to figures like Khamzat, everything adds up perfectly well. Okay? When he did that to Robert Whitaker, I said, wow, he could easily do this to Izzy. He could easily do this to Imavov. He could easily do this to anyone. And also, don't be surprised if Khamzat decides one day that he wants to go down to 170 and try his luck down there, because he still has unfinished business at 170. Obviously, the Gilbert Burns fight got him right up there, but the 185 fight is really in his horizon right now. Mr. Lopez says, calm down. Why are you yelling? I'm not yelling. I'm just very passionate in what I'm talking about, Mr. Lopez. So that's that. Brian Murph laughs at Mr. Lopez. The K is silent, bro. It's pronounced Khamzat, just like it's Habib. Okay, thank you for that correction, Brandon. Thank you for that correction. I think Khamzat Powhatan would be fire. Yeah, that would be a good match as well. No Lester points up at the top with some little emoji. So yeah, that would be a fire matchup between them. No lie, no lie. That would absolutely be a fire matchup. But it's not attractive right now, only because obviously Alex Pereira is coming off of a loss. And you know what? This is what I think about Alex Pereira, okay? I think he's scared to do a rematch with Ankalaev. I honestly think so. I mean, he's not jumping up for it. You see, he did barely got hurt in that fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? I mean, he may have gotten some few bruises, some bumps here and there, but he didn't get hurt badly. So why not jump up to International Fight Week? By the way, maybe that is the play here, right? International Fight Week, June 28th, right, has not been announced yet. And I'm very suspicious as to why. Why has that not been announced yet? Well, I think they're trying to fill in Khamzat and Dricus. That's a possibility. But at the same time, they don't know if they can make that matchup. Or they may fill it up or put on top Ankalaev and Pereira as a rematch, because they do have a rematch clause. But there's not a lot that's being talked about that right now, and I'm beginning to become suspicious as to why. Brandon says, are you worried about Pereira going too hard in sparring sessions? Oh, man. Yeah. What about that? What about him going too hard in sparring sessions? Maybe tell Sean Strickland that, right? Jason Brophy says, say that in Dagestan, Brandon. Haha. Brian Murph says, since the rematch is happening, do you think it was a low blow or not in the Dubois-Usyk fight? Very good question, Brian Murph. I don't think that was a low blow. You see how Daniel Dubois has been performing as of late. You've seen it, right? Okay. It's not any surprise that he can perform like that. It's not a surprise that he's knocked out and finished the guys that he's had finished with the likes of Anthony Joshua. That doesn't surprise me. Because once again, we're going to go into MMA math, right? Or in this case, boxing math. Anthony Joshua got his butt whooped by Alexander Usyk, and Dubois actually unofficially finished Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk played possum, my man. He played possum. That was a clean hit, and as far as I'm concerned, Dubois is the uncrowned, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and he has a chance to prove it this July. So I think this time we actually see a finish out of Dubois. Dubois is very young, and on top of that, this dude is slow. I don't understand, Kane. What exactly do you think is so about my assessment on that particular matter? I mean, you don't think that it's possible for Dubois to hurt Alexander Usyk? We'll see. We'll see, my man. Dana White versus Bruce Buffer. Who do I have on that one? I'm going to go with Bruce Buffer. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bruce Buffer. Even though Dana White looks like he's in better shape, Bruce Buffer looks like he's a lot more loose than Dana, and maybe that would help out in their fight. So, Jeremy Stevens return. That's right, man. How about that, man? That's a great way to return, right? Returning in Iowa. Who is he fighting again? In Iowa? Give me the opponent's name for that one. I haven't looked at that card as of yet. That's why I'm only doing the prediction for the main event and not the whole entire card. But I do know Jeremy Stevens is returning after his stint with BKFC. It was a very good stint, by the way, that he had against a whole wide range of names in BKFC. Right now he's back in the UFC, and it'll grow his legend even more. Now, look, there's a lot of guys that transition to BKFC, right? That's normal, especially when you get up in age. When you get up in age as a mixed martial arts fighter, you have to transition to either one of the three things. Bare knuckle fighting, that's one of the roughest of all, right? And then you're damaging your face at an older age because, let's face it, the majority of the UFC guys that go there are older guys, right? Older guys that don't have it anymore, that don't want to grapple anymore, that don't want to throw high kicks anymore. So they go in there. That's one sport. The other sport is jiu-jitsu, right? You can compete in jiu-jitsu until you're 50 years old, because what they do in the matching brackets, especially in the smaller tournaments, they match you up with guys that are your not only height and weight, but also guys your age group, right? Which is very interesting and unique for jiu-jitsu to do that. They have masters divisions and things of that nature. Something they should probably do in boxing as well, although they do it at an exhibition capacity. So, okay, with that in mind, Jeremy Stephens is doing the opposite. He goes from bare knuckle FC and then back into the UFC. And guess what? Even though Conor McGregor has had a better career than Jeremy Stephens, even though Conor McGregor owns BKFC, here's one thing you got to understand. Jeremy Stephens, right now at this current moment of time, is an even better fighter and more of a fighter than Conor McGregor ever will in the current moment of time right now. So tell me if that's true or not. He's going against Mason Jones. Ooh, what a tough comeback fight he's got going on. Mason Jones, former Cage Rage champion. That's interesting, man. Yeah, I'm going to go with Mason Jones on that one. I know we all love a feel-good story. We bring the guy back for one special time because it's his hometown. Yeah, no, that's not how it works in MMA. Ask Anthony Smith how that worked out. How did his last fight work out? How did the last fight of Shogun Rua, a legend, work out? The list goes on. BJ Penn, Chuck Liddell. It ends very devastatingly for all these guys, including Rampage Jackson. All of it ends devastatingly bad for all of them. Not so much for Robbie Lawler, although he did have some tough matchups in between his career, but Robbie Lawler was always there. Robbie Lawler was very difficult to finish. He had a chin, and at any time he could knock you out, and as a result of that, he finished his career with a knockout and rode off into the sunset, and not every legend is ever going to have that career all the time. So he's going against Mason Jones. Brian Murph says, is it true Patrice Evra doing MMA? Yes, I heard about that. Khabib said that he's going to train Patrice Evra, the soccer player. That's interesting. Shout out Eddie Bravo with jiu-jitsu. So, all right, I'm going to talk about Eddie Bravo for a brief minute, right? I'm going to show you a view of Sacramento right now, and then we're going to talk about Eddie Bravo to close off the live stream, or maybe close the live stream off with somebody else. But let me show you guys Sacramento right now. Penguin says, with his questions again, hypothetical questions, would you rather have no eyes and no ears, or would you rather be a pencil sharpener? That's a tough question. I think I'm going to be a pencil sharpener because you could probably see everything as a pencil sharpener. At least I would assume so. All right, here's Sacramento right here. So I have been seeing a lot of those questions so far about the one man versus gorilla type of concept, right? Look, I'm going to give you my take on this right now in 10 seconds, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 100 men versus one gorilla. I think this is the stupidest argument and the dumbest debate that mankind has ever embarked on right now. And the dumbest thing they will ever embark on, because this is Bucket Challenge Part 2, and this is Crate Challenge Walk Up Part 3. It's the dumbest thing ever. I'm going to tell you why it's dumb. Number one, the reason why it's dumb, because there's animal cruelty involved in this particular subject. Okay? That in and of itself, I'm out. I'm out. Because in order to win, you have to do something very violent to this gorilla. And I don't know if they specified any weapons or anything like that, but I'm going to assume it is in an unarmed situation. Even then, even if you can punch a gorilla and put a dent in his head in any kind of way, and by the way, the only human being we probably know that could do that is Francis Ngannou. But even with that, it's cruel. It's a cruel argument. We don't need to be fighting gorillas. Gorillas are not mixed martial arts fighters. They're not prize fighters. And that is the reason why us humans are superior to other animals, because we have the cognitive functions to either choose that, hey, you know what? We're going to either fight for a living or live peaceful for a living. Okay? That is the difference between gorillas, humans, and chimps. That is a big difference. So it's an inhumane conversation, and not only is it an inhumane conversation, but it's also a very useless conversation to begin with. So having this talk about, oh, who would win between 100 men and one gorilla? Who cares? I tell you what, if there was a gorilla on the loose, I don't think that people would go unarmed with a gorilla. I'll say that much. That is my take on the gorilla versus the 100-man theory. Let me know what you guys think about that. So, okay. Dingle, I'm 50-50. The weather, 100 easily men. All 100 men just swarmed the gorilla, Dingleberry says. Rough Rider says, you see the death sentence is being trained by Demetrius Johnson. Yes, I've heard about that. Yes, I've heard about death sentence being trained by Demetrius Johnson. I think that if you are anyone who's famous or anyone who is out there that has a clout or has a big name or anything like that, I think it's always good that you seek out the best guys to train with, because let's be honest, right? Demetrius Johnson is not exactly the most popular guy when he was the champion, and he certainly isn't the most popular guy right now. Although I will say his stock is rising right now, and I think it is because of these situations where he's training death sentence and all that. Dingleberry asks, but what if the gorilla is and wants to kill you? I mean, that's what it is, right? They are capable of doing that. B Fatty says, I don't think you understand just how unbelievably hard okay, bad. Yeah, thank you for that comment. Who Dares Town says, it's going to be you go first. No, you go first scenario. Realistically, no one will charge at the gorilla. Yo, Who Dares Town, that is a good analysis right there. We all would be looking around like, yeah, go first or this and that, right? Because we're not talking about 100 Francis Ngannous. We're talking about 100 normal men, and even 100 normal men who are trained are just not going to do it. So Brian Murph says, who dares? Who dares? And then it has a laughing emoji. Coach Will says 2 seconds. And Coach Will also says DJ is a GOAT. A shout out to Coach Will. Coach Will, do you train other fighters, or are you a coach in a particular sport? Let me know. What are you a coach of, or if that's just a screen? I'm just curious who is in my chat. But yeah, let me know on that one. B Fatty says 100 men or one man trained in guerrilla warfare. Probably go with the guy that's in guerrilla warfare. What happened to Dandy Outlaw Hardy? Well, obviously he became an announcer and an analyst. And not only as an online and as a TV MMA analysis, he's also a coach, I believe. Dingleberry says, who do you think wins between Dustin and Holloway? You know what? I know that Dustin is 2-0 with Holloway right now, right? Right now, Holloway is in prime form, even though he did get knocked out by Ilia Topuria. But Dustin Poirier also got finished as well, but that's neither here or there. But here's one thing you got to understand about that, right? Dustin Poirier is way more damaged than Holloway. Holloway doesn't spar. The fact that Holloway doesn't spar, he's preserved his brain all throughout this time. So what that means is that when they go in there and they fight, Max Holloway is the fresher guy, and don't be surprised if he has the capabilities of knocking out Dustin Poirier this time. If there's any time for Max Holloway to beat Dustin Poirier, it is right now. You see, sometimes it's not always about how good you are and how great you are or how skilled you are in how you can beat somebody, but it's sometimes the timing. Now, for example, if Floyd Mayweather fought Manuel Marquez in his prime, would it be a harder fight or an easier fight for Floyd Mayweather? I let you answer that question alone. I let you answer the question if Floyd fought Manny Pacquiao in 2009 instead of 2015, would he have had an easier or harder fight? I let you answer that question alone. Well, right now, this is the time where Max Holloway has a chance to beat Dustin Poirier. And I know that it's a good storyline. It's in New Orleans. It's his last fight. Max was the first fight of, Max's first fight in the UFC was Dustin Poirier. Now Dustin Poirier's fight, his last fight, is going to be with Max Holloway. I get it. It's a beautiful story, and it's in Louisiana, but the beautiful story is going to go to the redemption story of Max Holloway. And as a result, yeah, I'm going to go with Max Holloway on that one. So Coach Will says, I'm a retired old F. I had pro fights. All right, spinning between 2002 and 2017. I have a small gym. All right, man. Shout out to Coach Will. I always appreciate when you got real fighters and real coaches and real MMA people in here, because even though sometimes I may come across as somewhat of a satire channel or an outrageous channel or a gang channel or an urban channel or this and that, by my core, I am an MMA channel, and I love all the MMA hardcores that get in here. So Dingleberry says, if Holloway knocks out Dustin, I'll be pissed, and I'm a massive Dustin fan. Okay, are you from Louisiana or in that part of the world? Dingleberry, what makes you a big Dustin Poirier fan? Or do you just like that he beat up Conor McGregor, or you've been following him for a long time? Let me know. Brian Murph says Pacquiao. Yeah, to answer my question from earlier. Brock Lesnar versus Francis Ngannou. I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar. And if you're talking about prime Brock Lesnar, yeah. But if Brock Lesnar versus Francis Ngannou right now, Brock Lesnar would get his takedown stuff by Francis Ngannou and get uppercut to the next realm. That ain't good. That's the screen name, says that ain't good. Ngannou and Lesnar, really? Eric Hughes, Mike Swick. Oh, I remember Mike Swick. He was an AKA, he was an AKA gym member. He now has a gym in Thailand, AKA Thailand. So, yeah. Dingleberry says, I am from England. I really like Dustin because I like the way he fights. Okay. He does have that style that a lot of British guys like, right? You know, he goes for it and he goes for the finish. So, yeah, uppercut to the next round. True, but funny. Shout outs to Murph for that one. So, guys, that is all that I have for this hour right now. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Please check out my Ian Gary versus Buck video. Cuck versus Buck. Check out that video. And also talking about why you should not expose your family if you are in the fight game and the media obligations that you have to do with that. So check out that video. Also, check out my past live stream videos that I've been doing covering Francis Ngannou's accident. Also, a wide variety of different subjects and in different live streams and different videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dingleberry says bye. For now, that is a bye, but not for a long time. I will see you in the next content, next live stream, next video, inshallah.